The life of King Henry VII, the first Tudor monarch to reign. Henry VII was born on the 28th of January, 1457 in Pembroke Castle in Pembrokeshire, Wales. His mother was Margaret Beaufort, and his father was Edmund Tudor. Henry's father passed away just 3 short months before Henry was born. The Tudor era was a dark era that was full of rebellions, deceit, conspiracies, and fear of further wars. During Henry's early years, he was supported by his uncle, Henry VI, and the Lancasterian factions. Henry was considered a very intelligent, high-spirited, friendly person. Unless he was crossed, he would show his mean streak. In 1471, Henry supported his uncle Henry VI and the Lancastrian cause in fighting the civil wars against Edward IV, a member of the Yorkist branch. Edward then reclaimed the throne, and Henry VII was exiled and spent 14 years in exile in Britain. Henry was promoted in 1483 as an alternative to Richard III in claim to the throne, but Richard was the successor to the throne at Edward IV's death. Henry made a pledge to marry Elizabeth of York, and with money and supplies borrowed from Francis II of Brittany, Henry tried his luck and tried to land in England. This plan was unravelled, and Henry's co-conspirator Henry Stafford, the 2nd Duke of Buckingham, was executed. Richard III had tried to get Henry extradited from Brittany, but Henry had already escaped to France. France had welcomed Henry and had supplied him with troops and equipment for an invasion into England. Henry sailed across the sea with a small force of soldiers from both Scotland and France. Henry had sailed from France to the shore in Dale, Pembrokeshire. Henry and his troops then marched from Dale in Pembrokeshire towards England. Henry was accompanied by his uncle Jasper and John de Vere, the 13th Earl of Oxford. Henry had amassed an army of around 5,000 or 6,000 soldiers. Henry had devised a plan to seize the throne by engaging Richard quickly, as Richard has forces in both Nottingham and Leicester. Although Henry's army was outnumbered, Henry's army had defeated Richard's Yorkist army at the Battle of Bosworth Field on the 22nd of August, 1485. Many of Richard's allies, such as Henry Percy, had switched sides on the battlefield. Richard's death had ultimately put a stop to the War of the Roses. In order to secure his hold on the throne, Henry declared himself king by right of conquest retroactively from the 21st of August, 1485, the day before Bosworth. Henry honoured his pledge to marry Elizabeth of York, and the wedding took place in Westminster Abbey in 1486. Henry and Elizabeth were actually third cousins. They went on to have 7 children together: Arthur, Margaret, Henry VIII, Elizabeth, Mary, Edmund, and Catherine. During the next 12 years of Henry's reign, he faced many rebellions, but Henry made it policy to maintain peace and to create economic prosperity. In 1502, Henry's life took a very difficult turn. Many people close to him died in quick succession. Henry's first son Arthur passed away suddenly at Ludlow Castle, most likely from a respiratory illness, which made his other son Henry next in line to the throne. Henry was a reserved man and controlled his emotions well, but after the death of his son, he was struck by intense grief and was seen frequently sobbing. Less than 1 year later, Henry's wife Elizabeth of York had passed away. This affected Henry greatly, to the point he locked himself away and refused to speak with anyone 4 days. Henry had made half-hearted plans to remarry and have more heirs, but this never came to anything. In 1505, Henry was interested in a potential marriage to Joanna of Naples and had sent some ambassadors to Naples to check on Joanna's suitability. The marriage to Joanna never took place, and is known that the description that Henry sent with his ambassadors of what he desired in a wife actually matched the description of his late wife Elizabeth. Henry fell into the minority of British monarchs that never had any known mistresses. Sadly, Henry VII passed away on the 21st of April 1509 from tuberculosis. Henry was buried in Westminster Abbey next to his beloved late wife. Henry's death had left his son Henry VIII to succeed to the throne.